It's a little bright. That's a little less bright. Man, it is not so hot, but it's humid. Not hot, but humid. That's not the way it's supposed to be in Phoenix. All right. I am ready. Ready to rock and roll, baby. Let's see here. What is going on? Oil. Oil's down 12 cents. It's only at $82. With lemon, even. That's fancy shit right there. Drinking water with lemon. All right, we're bouncing around. We're up on silver for the day, but it's not a strong up. It's not like two thumbs up. It's like a thumb kind of pointing in the right direction, sort of. All right. So, did a lot of research today. I can't say I'm super happy about what I found. As a matter of fact, I really, really, really didn't want to find what I found. No, I did not. Looks like we've dug ourselves into a pretty serious situation here in Iran. Pretty serious indeed. Looks like a situation we may not be able to dig ourselves out of anytime soon. And that's too bad, because we should want to. Charles, how are you, buddy? Austin. You guys are getting monsoons. Not really. I mean, yeah, kind of monsoon-ish. But it's not a real monsoon. It's not like back in the old days. Back in the days when we were young, we would stand out there and get pelted with water drops the size of this glass of water. Okay, it wasn't ever like that, but it would rain really fucking hard for a little while, and we're not getting that. I'm not seeing it. We get a little bit of rain here, a little bit of rain there. It's going to lead to some interesting shit happening here in the next 30 days, because it looks like Glen Canyon Dam is fucked. Bye-bye. Gonzo. They are now reaching what we would call the Deadpool level. They're less than 30 days away from having to completely shut down all of the generation for Glen Canyon Dam, which means that Lake, whatever the fuck that is gone. It's gone. They're the big ass lake, whatever it is. I've drawn a blank, but anyway, it's at the lowest level it's ever been. It's a 25%, 23%. Well, that means that what they're doing now is they're getting ready to shut off some of the water flow to Lake Mead and to Hoover Dam, which of course is catastrophic. Lake Powell, thank you. Yeah, Lake Powell. Been there, shithole. Not a good place. Lake Mead's pretty cool. Been there many times. So I mean, I've been to Lake Havasu more times than I can count, starting when I was about 4. It's a very popular place. So we're about to shut down the water coming from Glen Canyon Dam. We're going to lower that going into Lake Mead. And of course, Lake Mead is only 8 feet above Deadpool right now as well. 8 more feet, and it will have to shut down 70% of the water, or excuse me, the electrical generation that goes to Los Angeles, mostly, and some to Vegas, but mostly LA. So it's going to be very interesting because at this point, apparently the water levels, we signed a deal, the Interstate Compact on water way back when, and it gave the oldest and the largest people to sign it, which would be LA, California, first right of refusal on everything, which means if California says, hey, look, there's not enough water to go around and we want all of it, then that's that. They get all of the water. Now, the funny part about that is that the cities like Las Vegas and Phoenix just did a lot of research on this. Turns out they're actually very, very good at water, at not wasting it. Some of the best water retention of any major cities in the entire world. Where the water really gets wasted is in agriculture. We waste a lot of water on agriculture, on things like alfalfa. And the reason that we raise so much alfalfa in this state is because in places like Saudi Arabia, it's illegal. You can't raise alfalfa because it wastes too much water. So there was a big to-do several years ago. I raised a big stink, called all the news places, called a couple of politicians, and said, "Hey, man, what the fuck? You know, this place Bustamante has this Mexican name, but this ain't our neighbors. This is Saudi Arabia, and they're literally hiding behind this corporation, and they've got land leases that are basically, you know, it's like $25 an acre or something, and you could just get all the water you want for free." Well, they've driven huge wells down into the Butler Valley Emergency Aquifer, the emergency aquifer for Phoenix, our emergency aquifer in case, oh, I don't know, this happens. Yeah, Yorkie, we don't give a fuck about California in Arizona. California gets all the water they want. All the water they want. Now, how you guys insanely mismanage it because you've got a bunch of mentally handicapped people in Sacramento, that is not our problem. You have so much water in California. Everything west of the Sierra Nevada mountains gets a shit pile of water every year. Zero drought. No drought. No drought. I looked. It's all green. Ours is yellow and some of it's red. That's drought. So I'm not real worried about California right now because they basically said, hey, look, go fuck yourself. We're taking all the water we want, and we don't care if Arizona goes completely dry. Not our problem. Well, yes, in a way it kind of is because you can drink the water, but you can't generate the electricity. Yeah, because California decided to do things like, in Morro Bay, where they tore down that old coal power generation plant. Yeah, that was dirty, so they knocked that shit down. Well, guess what? Now they need it. Because Diablo Canyon Nuclear Power Plant has been decommissioned. San Onofre Nuclear Power Plant, decommissioned. All of these plants are decommissioned, and now they don't have any way to generate electricity because Hoover Dam is 8 feet above shutting down. That's before Glen Canyon Dam stops letting water flow into it. See, they didn't factor that in. Nobody factored that in. Nobody factored in that Glen Canyon Dam and Lake Powell might run completely dry even if they shut off Glen Canyon Dam and try to retain the water. Why? Why would that happen? Because the dumb sons of bitches built that reservoir over sand. Now, I don't know if you've ever tried to fill up a bunch of sand with water, but it's kind of like the beach where The tide rolls in, and then when it rolls out, all that water that's sitting there and makes it shiny, all of a sudden it's not shiny anymore. You go, hey, where'd that water go? Oh, it seeped into the sand. Oh, well, good thing I didn't try and build a reservoir there. That's exactly what they did. Glen Canyon Dam holds back water and makes Lake Powell exist, even though Lake Powell doesn't want to exist. It never wanted to exist. But they decided, hey, you know what? Let's put a backup dam behind Lake Mead. Let's put a backup dam behind Powell or behind Hoover. And by the way, Flaming Gorge, way upstream, they're releasing water from that. This is going to be a fucking mess. Reservoir bank intentionally created the Great Depression of 1929. Oh, you're talking about the Federal Reserve Bank. Yes. Well, hello. Hi, BB. How deep is the aquifer beneath Lake Powell? There is no aquifer beneath Lake Powell. That's the problem. No, they didn't stop Bustamante. What they did was they said no more leases. And then everybody printed that, hey, look, the Saudi Arabians can't steal our water anymore. We ended all those leases. No more land leases for foreign companies. Well, that is fucking awesome. Finally, politicians did what? Wait, what? Oh, they just bought all the acreage next door for pennies on the dollar because the ranchers couldn't actually drill down far enough to hit water anymore because they drained the aquifer. They had lowered the entire Butler Valley aquifer by 50 feet. And now, if you want to spend another 30, 40 grand, you can go in and make your well deeper. Or if you're a subsistence farmer, like a lot of those guys were, you're done. Goodbye. But the good news is now Bustamante can go in and buy up that land for next to nothing and still drill like a son of a bitch. And that's exactly what they're doing. To this day, right now, we're worried about running out of water and therefore electricity while we're building fucking data centers everywhere that are going to suck up literally gigawatts of electricity and poison our aquifers at the same time. And we still allow Saudi Arabia to steal our water. What? Like, at this point, I have less faith than I've ever had in the government of the United States of America, any part of it, state or federal. And I started out with zero faith. Yeah, so now it's a negative. But I have water. That's not the worst news of the day, by the way. Just in case any of you are wondering. Yeah, that's true. They dug deep enough that they could make their wells last a lot longer. Some of those wells are 1,000 feet or more deep in an area where 150 feet used to be enough. But they're not going to run out. Well, now here's what's going to happen. But let's take a pause before we all lose our minds over the fact that Saudi Arabia is stealing our water. Let's look at the good news. And the good news is we're at war with Iran, and we're going to stay at war with Iran for. I'm going to take a wild guess, and my wild guess is based on everything that I know about politicians, Israel, and the Pentagon. Israel is completely and utterly in charge of the Congress and the Senate, and they appear to have the President of the United States of America pissing his diaper. His depends are constantly dripping because of whatever threat they're holding over him. So, because of that, we went to war with Iran. And we said publicly that, Secretary of State, Vice President, President, they all came out and said, look, we did it because we knew Israel was going to do it, and we figured it was better to hit them first. Oh, so that's why we started a war. Yep, because Israel was going to do it. And by golly, if Israel's going to do it, it's good enough for us. But we just want to go first. It's almost like we were using a water slide or something. No, I go first. So now we're at war with Iran. Iran is absolutely, completely, and totally not having any of this. They don't want to talk about negotiations, memorandum of understanding, MOU. They don't care. They don't care. We killed their version of the Pope. And as Persians, they're like, hey, you know what? Let's do this. We've been waiting for 47 fucking years. We've been waiting for almost half a century for you guys to come get us. We knew Israel was never going to leave us alone because we bother them. Just by existing, we piss them off. We've got to nuke them. Well, you just eliminated yourself from any grown-up conversation because you, sir, are a child or a psychopath or both, a psychopathic child. Yeah, well, let's nuke them because that'll work. Idiot. God almighty. Lay off the lead-based paint chips, dipshit. This is not one of those rah, Trump's the best president we ever fucking had. You know, Barack Hussein Obama, he's the best, you know. This is not that live stream. Go somewhere else. Go find somebody with a fucking bull nose ring thing and talk to them about that. Israel has not done anything yet. We fight so that, let's see, what's that saying? We're intentionally evaporating water from the Great Salt Lake. I just really, dude, they call it the Great Salt Lake because it evaporated. Not much left to evaporate, really. I mean, and by the way, it's at the highest level it's been in about 10 years. So I don't know that your plan is really all that. I mean, maybe. American Jews, well, I don't know if it was American Jews, but, you know, I think you're on the right track there. Look, lead-based, I'm not saying lead-based paint chips taste bad. They're pretty good. With a little queso on them. There's no water in the Salt Lake, silly. Really? How much water is there in the Salt Lake? Well, it's only about 9.5 million acre feet of roughly 3 trillion gallons of water. So yeah, I mean, 3 trillion gallons, that's nothing. I could drink that in one night if it were beer. If you ran some wheat and some barley through it. You have a few eyeballs tuning in. Yes. Yes, I do. People who say stupid shit like, well, we should just nuke them. Right. That wouldn't start World War fucking III. That wouldn't lead to the end of civilization as we know it within, 48 hours, let's just say. Look, there's a plan. And the plan is simple, it's straightforward, and it is working flawlessly. And that plan is there's a small country in the Middle East that has slowly but surely taken over all of the politics of the United States. They fund hundreds of millions of dollars in lobbying for the politicians they like. And at this point, they have convinced us, well, the people who matter, the politicians, that it is a moral imperative that we go to war with Iran. So we did, like the good little boys that we are in the United States Congress and Senate. We went to war with Iran based on the intelligence, and I use that term very loosely, of Benjamin Netanyahu, who said they're 2 weeks away from having a nuke. The same exact thing he said since 1994. 32 years now. He's been saying the exact same thing. 2 weeks away. 2 weeks. So this time we believed him. And I think that had something to do with the fact that Donald Trump wants to live long enough to leave office. That is actually what I believe. So we went to war with Iran. We'll be there for years. I have friends that were in Iraq and Afghanistan, and it will be exactly the same ridiculous shit show. It will be absolute clusterfuck from day one. We will put boots on the ground shortly, maybe over the course of the next few months. Once those boots are on the ground, the Pentagon will dig in. And we'll get mission creep, and we'll get all the same shit that we've always had with every war, just like Iraq, just like Afghanistan, just like Vietnam. Because these are our wars that are fought for the fuck of it, just because. And whenever you fight a war just because, and you have no real bottom line, then there's no reason to ever end the war. And we're not fighting the war for us. Anybody who thinks that now, all of a sudden, today we got to fight the war. Well, why? Well, because, the hardliners. Well, the hardliners, if you're talking about the Ayatollah, the fucking Ayatollah had prostate cancer. He was 80-something years old, and he was about to die. So what would happen when he dies? Most likely, his son would take over. So what did we do? We killed him, along with his beautiful little granddaughters, and his daughter, and one of his son-in-laws, and a bunch of other family members on a, beautiful sunny morning. And we made him a martyr. And who took over? His son, the same fucking guy that would have taken over. Wow, we really affected some measurable change there. And actually we did, because they went from, the guy died and now his son took over. Maybe we can negotiate with his son to, he died because we killed him for Israel. And now his son will absolutely never trust us. Oh, after we disfigured him horribly, I imagine. Well, I do have a little bit of an inside view, because if you use game theory to figure this out, which I suggest you do in all cases, the United States will be at war for the next 5 years minimum. There's no way that we go to war for less than 5 years. We will institute a national draft starting next year. Once we start that draft, we will dig ourselves deeper and deeper and deeper, because most of the kids that are eligible for the draft right now, they don't even know what sex they are. They have 1/4 of the testosterone that their grandfathers had. Think about that for a second. The kids who are going to be drafted have 75% less testosterone in their systems than their grandfathers did. That is fucking terrifying, because these sweet little gender sissies don't know what the fuck they're going to do when they get there, other than complain because it's hot, and because I got a rash, and because this is not fair. They misgendered me. Those are the kids that we're going to send over to Iran. And by the way, what happens when you send a bunch of fairly tough guys to Iraq? Well, let's see. Iraq has 22 million people, and it's 1/4 the size of Iran. So instead of 22 million people, Iran has 93 million people. And it's 5 times the size of Iran. And by the way, of Iraq. And by the way, Iraq, flat as a tabletop. If we can't win a war there, we can't win a war, period. Now, the one thing that we haven't talked about in all of this is the elephant in the room, drone warfare. Because our guys will not be getting picked off by IEDs. When you're driving along and you look down the road and you see a fresh patch of dirt next to the road, or you see, let's say if your guys are really good, you see wires running down the side of the road, running off down into a culvert somewhere, and you say, whoa, guys, what the fuck? Stop, hold on. Best case scenario. That's not the way it's going to be. Now, there may be IEDs, but those IEDs will be placed in obvious locations where you have to stop. And that's when 30 or 40 drones will swarm your entire column. It's fucking simple. Now, obviously, if you're in the Ukraine and you're in a forest, it gives you a little bit better idea of where to run, where to hide, a little bit harder to detect. If I'm going to be like that out in the middle of fucking mountains of Iraq or mountains of Iran, it's going to be, here I am out in the open. And what's that noise? Oh, that sounds like a drone. This is something that the United States of America has never dealt with before. This is what we call a force multiplier. This is what we call asymmetric warfare, where you don't have as many guys in that area. And believe me, we could send 100,000, we could send 500,000. We could put 500,000 people onto the border of Iran almost overnight. Do you have any idea how much that's going to cost? And by the way, while we're doing that, something else to think about. Where's the world going to get all of their oil and helium and natural gas? Oh, and fertilizer. We have not really thought this through, unless of course, somebody did think this through and they wanted this to happen and they forced this on us. Because who benefits from the United States and Iran fighting a war against each other? Just fighting it out for years and years and years. Who does that deplete? Well, it makes the United States weak. Well, Yorkie cow shit is fertilizer. It can be used as fertilizer. Not a lot of cows. Not much. The EU, wait a minute, the EU? What the fuck are you talking about, the EU? The EU wants nothing to do with this, man. They made it very clear to Trump. Look, you want to go to war with Iran? Kamsamnida. Whatever. Hey, go. You go at it, man. You just go get them. We'll be back here. We're gonna build some grandstands right here, and we're just gonna watch. Because we're not gonna do that again. See, we learned. Who benefited from World War II? Well, I will say that the birth of Israel was a direct result of World War II. No question about that. Then let Iran have their nuke. Well, and this is one that really bothers me, because this is almost too obvious. It's almost too obvious. Iran has a fucking enormous amount of oil. They have an enormous amount of engineers, doctors, you name it. It's a very educated country. If we went there and we said, hey guys, look, we don't want to fight. It's the last thing we want to do. But what we do want to do is make you guys rich. And they would say, how are you going to do that? We'd say, well, by you making us rich. Or we're gonna make each other rich. Let's do business. Now, what could Iran buy from us? Fuck everything. They want so much of Western civilization. What could we get from them? Well, I can tell you this: right after 9/11, Ahmed Ahmadinejad, the president of Iran, called George Bush directly and said, this is while there were millions of people in the streets of Tehran holding up banners that said, "We are all Americans today." And he said, listen, we want to be on the right side of history. How about we sell you oil for $40 a barrel, guaranteed, forever. Let's say for the next 100 years. Never over $40, guaranteed. And George Bush so eloquently put it, no, thanks. That was it. We don't want them to be friends. We don't want their friendship. We don't want their business. We don't want to make money on them. We don't want anything to do with them. And why is that? Because the people who own the Congress and own the Senate and own the presidency and own everything said they are very, very bad people. They're all evil. Every one of them is evil. Oh, they're all evil? Yep. Every one of them. Oh. No chance they'll ever change the way that they do things. Nope. Iranian oil is heavy sulfur. What are you, a fucking oil guy? You just came back from Oklahoma working in the oil fields? Are you fucking kidding me? It's the same oil field as everything else. Iraq and Iran, believe it or not, are actually the same place. It's the same place. Oh, but there's a line. Oh, you mean where the map, where they drew the thing over here? It's like they drew a line. Yeah, on this side of the line in Iraq, the oil's really awesome. It's light, sweet, crude. You can damn near drink that shit. But if you cross that line we drew in the sand, now this oil's bad. Bad oil. You bad oil. Bad oil. Holy shit. There's so much propaganda, and everybody seems to believe it. The oil's awesome. Now, the oil that comes out of Canada, well, it's expensive. It's expensive. Sulfur is fertilizer. Yeah, it sounds right. Sulfur and nitrogen, right? Yeah, nitrogen. Because nitrogen is, what's the stuff we use for fertilizer? Ammonium nitrate. Ammonium nitrate, good old fertilizer. And by the way, if you put it in a U-Haul truck, apparently ammonium nitrate is quite a bomb, according to everybody that thinks Oklahoma City was actually a guy in a van. Baby Bush. Yeah, I got to tell you, George Bush was not supposed to be the president. You know that, right? That was supposed to be Jeb Bush. But he fucked up. And because he fucked up, his sort of not quite all there alcohol fetal syndrome little brother got the job. When the Supreme Court of the United States of America halted the counting of ballots because it could, and I quote, do irreparable harm to George Bush's how did they put it? George Bush's reputation. I thought, what? What? You stopped counting ballots because it could hurt his reputation? Never heard that one before, but it worked. I mean, whatever. It all works. Might have been a fertilizer bomb, but it damn sure wasn't one man. No, that's true. It was clearly not. I mean, people saw him with other people, and just nobody ever found him. Nobody ever figured out who those people were. To this day, the FBI is still looking. Oh, Jeb was a total stiff. He was such an elitist that he couldn't help himself. No, Oklahoma City, the McMurrah building, did not just fall into its own footprint. The whole front of it was blown off. But it's interesting because you see all these reports about how nobody from alcohol, tobacco, or firearms (ATF), nobody was in the office that morning for some odd reason. You see the fact that the FBI, when they got to the scene, they went in and they said that there were several other devices that they were working on dismantling because they had not gone off as planned. I remember that. I mean, I remember watching that morning. I was out in the backyard, lived in Redondo Beach, California, and I was actually out in the backyard throwing avocados for my German Shepherd. That was before avocados were $75 a piece. And I had about a 60-foot avocado tree in the backyard that used to drop avocados on the roof all the time. And even though they say that they're bad for dogs, that German Shepherd lived to be 14 or 15 years old. I don't think they're bad for dogs. So I would throw them, and then she would eat half of them and try to give the other half back, and I'd just throw a fresh one. Grew up with the Bush family in Midland, Texas. Well, then I imagine just how strange that family is. That was payback for Waco 2 years earlier to the day. Yeah, that's what they said. Look, man, at this point, to believe anything that the United States government tells you is just pure folly. Why? Why would you do that? After being lied to so many times, I mean, it's like the guy who, I know my girl cheated on me again, but she said she's really sorry this time. All right. Well, one of two things is true. Either you're cool with this, or you just really, really deep down hate yourself. And this woman who keeps torturing you is your own way of making yourself pay for whatever you think you've done. And that's the truth. Yeah. Well, Janet Reno, Waco was one thing, and Ruby Ridge, and it's just more and more and more. I was thinking about getting rid of all this stuff behind me and putting up one of those walls like you see in A Beautiful Mind, where it's just red string attached from one thing to another. And it's like, okay, so why do you believe this? Well, look behind me, because that right there is why, and I can just point to it. Because it's just one thing after another, man. Just one thing after another. And you get to a point where it just, to believe the government, to believe the press in the United States of America is just, how do you do that? Why would you do that? Yeah, it's madness. Why would you do that? Like, at what point do you say, okay, look, I know that you have just straight up lied to me 100 times. But the 101st time is always the charm. I know I heard that in kindergarten. The 101st time is the charm. Why would you do that? I mean, look, just look at the last Just look at this decade. How many lies have been told in this decade? Can you even count them all? Remember, this is the decade, 2020 is when COVID happened. And if you go to the CDC website right now, right fucking now, and you look up the amount of people who died from the flu from 2019 to 2026, or if you just want to go over the last 10 years, 2016 to 2026, and you see that there's these enormous amounts of people, 30, 40, 50, 60,000 people that die every year of the flu. And then you look at 2020, not a single death. What? Not a single death. Not one. But people still got the flu, right? No, they canceled it that year. Who's they? The angels. The angels looked down upon us and said, good people, you've got enough on your plate. We're canceling the flu. And so it was. The flu was canceled just for 1 year. Now, there were a few cases in 2021, and there was a whole bunch again after that. That's pretty weird. We were in lockdown. Oh, were we really? The whole year? Everybody? No, we weren't. Right. Broken ankle, you died of COVID. That's it. Look, I've got friends that are in the medical profession, and man, the stories they were telling me at the time, because I was scared, man. I was scared. When COVID hit, I was like, man, this is fucked up. My daughters are both going to high school right now, and if they're just going back and forth, at some point, they're bringing that shit home to me. And I'm being told that at 50 years old, if you're 50 or older, you're going to die if you get it, period. And that's it. You're going to die. And I thought, well, shit, man. Okay, so if I'm a little overweight and I got high blood pressure, I'm going to die if I get this. And so I gave my daughters a choice. I said, look, you can keep living with me, but you got to stay home, or you can keep going to high school, but you're going to have to live with your mom. Because if you give me COVID, it's going to kill me. That's what everybody's telling me. That's what my doctor said. And they were like, well, Dad, we got our friends, and schools weren't closed yet. And they were like, we got our friends, and I guess we'll just go live with Mom. Now, that sucked. That really sucked. I liked having my family with me. I grew up with no family. The idea of giving up my kids really sucked. Bad. I was really depressed about that. But I mean, what am I going to do? I don't want to die. So to find out it was all just a big fucking hoax, and that Fauci knew everything the whole time, that really pissed me off. It still does to this day. I mean, look, when What's-Her-Face just left as a director of national intelligence, and she dropped the bombshell that, oh, by the way, Fauci knew all along, and yes, he was funding gain of function research in Wuhan, and yes, it was all us, and yes, we did it. What? Oh my God, you motherfuckers. People who died from the flu from 2019 to 2026, or if you just want to go over the last 10 years, 2016 to 2026, and you see that there's these enormous amounts of people, 30, 40, 50, 60,000 people that die every year of the flu. And then you look at 2020, not a single death. single death. Not one. But people still got the flu, right? No, they canceled it that year. Oh, I forgot. You guys didn't kick me off. These assholes banned me. I can't believe it. They fucking shut me down for misinformation. So I'm writing an appeal right now that says, go fuck yourself, because the CDC, I'm going to the CDC website right now. Show me the CDC statistics on flu for 2016 through 2026. I can't believe they fucking banned me for misinformation. I'm literally quoting the goddamn CDC. Son of a bitch. Really, really pisses me off. (2020 to 2021). Hospitalizations, not calculated. Deaths, not calculated. Notes, historically low flu levels. What a coinky dink. Historically low flu levels. The same year. So low they didn't bother to calculate them. Motherfuckers. Man, I hate TikTok. I hate TikTok. I hate TikTok. Yeah, that's a problem, White Falcon. It ain't commies. The Chinese don't own TikTok anymore. No, it's owned by Larry Ellison. Yeah, the guy who owns Oracle. Oracle, second largest software company in the world, that was started with the help of the CIA investment fund. Yeah, that Larry Ellison, the one who donated $100 million of his own personal money to the Israeli Defense Forces last year. That Larry Ellison. Now you know why they ban you for everything. Because they're not spying on you like the Chinese were. I don't care if they spied on me. The Chinese just want to know what I'm thinking. All right, well, they'll probably think I'm crazy, so whatever, I don't care. This is different. TikTok doesn't want to spy on you. They want to monitor you so that they can control your speech. This is literally 1984 happening right in front of us. Nobody seems to notice. All right, let's go to images. Man, that pisses me off. When they say things like, oh, well, you gave us misinformation. No, I really didn't. All right, well, that was 44 minutes. Damn, time flies. really does fly by. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to go make dinner for my kid, and then we'll probably watch a movie. He asked me if I wanted to watch The Right Stuff. The history of space flights. Yeah, I've only seen it 5 times. What the hell? Actually, it'd be fun to watch with him. So, all right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow night.